The truth is, social media provides a morphine drip for these producers to keep them like, okay, we're in the zone. This is what the people want.
They're following social media. They're actually on Twitter and Facebook going, what are these people up in arms about?
That's right. And they can say in a meeting, oh, this is really clicking today. This is really going. This got about. Holy crocono, you can see a television news story in which people are like, this idiot said this about this idiot on Twitter, and they treat it like it's a whole news story. So it has permeated the thinking in very profound ways, and it's made us dumber.
I really like that you use the expression, holy crocono. It is an expression I've never heard, and I will be adding it to my vocabulary to replace fuck. But it strikes me that Fox wouldn't be as, that's a dog news-wise. It's more like, that doesn't fit our audience's bloodlust.
I think the two things go to the same end in this way. Fox is I was there for 10 years. When I started in a news division meeting, if you talked about the ratings, it would have been gross. By the time I left, I heard producers and people in the news division talking openly about ratings this, ratings that.
Did they get the minute by minutes?
Some people, and that actually, the diffusion of those reports changed over time, and it became much more ratings driven.
So basically what the news is saying to us is, this isn't our fault, it's your fault. They are outsourcing the responsibility of news gathering and news telling to, well, if they would watch better stuff, we'd show them that.
But that's not the audience.
They're connected.
But that's not the audience. That's someone's view of the audience, right? There's someone in an office who says, listen, young people, I guess that means...
No, I understand that, but it takes a long time to figure out what the audience wants. And when I first started at The Daily Show, right, they were really on us to do a lot of pop culture shit. And this was my last shot in TV, and I knew it. I was 35, I'd been down the road a ton. And what I said to them was, let's make a deal. Let me do the thing that I believe in. And if it sucks, and it doesn't sell you enough beer, you can fire me. In other words, we developed a thing that we believed in, and the audience showed up, rather than doing research on what the audience wanted and backing into it. And there are so many good, talented, passionate journalists that are getting the life sucked out of them by a system that is backwards. Is that correct?
Let me throw out a different narrative on this.
Holy crocono, it's about time.
You know, I think what this is really about is a lack of courage of changing the model. The part about the minute by minutes, you're looking at data that is already incredibly flawed from the beginning. And the more you...
What data? Where do they get their data?
Well, Nielsen provides ratings for most broadcast products.
Nielsen?
Yeah.
The group from the 50s with the book that you write in.
Well, and the main theory behind their methodology hasn't changed any. In the 70s and 80s, when you had the dials and there was 5 options, it worked pretty well. Now look at what's happening. You have hyper-fragmentation. You have people consuming content all the time on all kinds of different devices and platforms, and it just hasn't kept up. So now you take that data, you start splicing it down to minute by minute. You take bad data, make it smaller and focus. You got nothing.
How in their right mind has nobody stepped back and said, you know, Nielsen ratings are often written on papyrus?
At some point, you just start realizing, I wonder if what we're looking at is any degree of realism at all.
I think it's about systems. Like, well, listen, I'm in this system, and this is how the system is, and if I would like to get paid, continue to be paid the money that I'm making, which is seriously good money, do I really want to fight the system? I think for most of the journalists working there when I was there, they loved journalism, as I did and I do. But I think, you know, the mission was to do the best work that you could do and win. You know, win is in the ratings. Win is making sure that you're getting picked up by the New York Times. Win is not about educating the public. It's not so complicated. The Real Housewives is a really good model. The reality show, right? This idea, the person who's willing to go there, go over the top, they become better known. They get paid more money. It's successful. Your guests who are willing to go over the top, the person who's willing to say the thing no one's willing to say, that person is good TV. If they're good TV, then they're going to get booked.
Well, cable's moved to opinion. You know, what's the difference between opinion and what's the news? Local's never gotten into that game, and thank God, I think it's one of the things that's going to save us in the end.
Local news has not really done what cable news has made an art out of, right? Which is the chaos as good TV. Local news has to serve the people watching. They have to cover the community. So they can't just have two people screaming at each other for 4 minutes and say, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.